Welcome to Partnerships for Profit, the podcast where we bring you inside the world of joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and powerful collaborations. Each episode, you'll dive into conversations with top entrepreneurs, visionaries, and business leaders, unlocking the secrets to building profitable relationships that drive growth and success. Whether you're looking to expand your network, find new referral partners, or scale your business, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Welcome, everyone, to Partnerships for Profits. My name is Dean West, and today I'm joined by Julia Holt. She is a Louisiana-based entertainment attorney with real skin in the game. She's a former jazz pianist, actor, the indie booking agent who runs Julia Holt Law Firm, helping artists and entrepreneurs protect their work, their deals, and their futures. She's not here for vague advice. Julia's done the gigs, reviewed the contracts, and built a legal practice that speaks creative languages. Today, we talk business ownership and what every performer and content creator needs to know before they hit publish or sign anything. Julia is also the founder of Zamari, a sync licensing agency that helps independent artists unlock new revenue by placing their music in film, television, and media. Her firm serves as a strategic legal partner for creatives looking to build lasting legacies through strong legal foundations. So let's get into it. Julia.
Hey, Dean. Thank you so much.
The podcast. Yeah. So let's get started. I'd love to kind of hear the connection and the background of what took you through the entertainment world and all the music and artistry, and then found your way back to legal, or was it all at the same time?
So for me, it was not at the same time. I thought I was going to be a performer for a while. I thought I was going to play music. I thought I was going to act. And then I stumbled across law when my intellectual property was stolen. And so I felt kind of defenseless when that happened, and I wanted to find a way to protect myself and protect other people. So I decided to go to law school, and I still want to act and I still want to do music. I'm going to find my way back to that. Just need to make the space for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I feel like you're building that foundation with obviously, a wonderful career. You're going to be in the same world that you're already dealing with.
Right.
Did you find any of the training in the acting community and artist community that kind of helped you hone in on your version of what you're doing with your legal background?
Absolutely. I feel like having the background in music and having the background in film really allowed me to be in the shoes of my clients and know exactly some of their hesitations, or think about the projection of their journey, and kind of see some things that they're not quite mindful of just yet, and to protect them with some, against people taking their intellectual property, or also think about, liability concerns that they might have.
Yeah. So when you said you obviously had put some stuff out there that got taken, how'd that kind of go around? How'd that happen? What happened with that?
So for a little while, I was working on an idea for an app, and I pitched it at this event called Startup Weekend. And it's where you create a business in 48 hours. I was supposed to have a partner, but he ditched me for a Quidditch game. So I landed up coming up with a business idea all by myself, like the business plan, creating wireframes for the app. And I didn't know that when you share your art or your
concept,
publicly, it takes away, that protection you have.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have confidentiality agreements. So once it becomes public knowledge, you have less protection over your idea.
Oh man. So have you found that kind of diving into this world, coming obviously with that background, do you feel like that's an easier way for you to understand who you're working with, and giving them kind of that strategic placement to begin? Like, do you have kind of like your 5 steps that you're like, all right, before you start doing all this, let's work through these?
Yes, I work through a number of issues before I set them free to go and be creative, make sure like they protect their trademarks, their copyrights, have an LLC or a partnership, all the right agreements, and then I, make sure they have collaboration agreements in place, so they are protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me ask you that then. So when you guys are kind of prepping on this, obviously you guys are getting really connected on the business side of what's going on here. Is there, now that you've kind of probably seen a decent amount of these contracts, is there something that always kind of just flares its little head that you're like, okay, let's make sure we figure this part out?
I guess it depends on the type of client I have, but a lot of issues happen with people, let's say in music,
Mm-hmm.
they do collaborate together and then they don't make their split agreement. So they don't know who owns what, or they talk about who owns what and it never gets written down,
Mm.
or businesses not having, the right shares in place, or employees versus independent contractors. Those are a lot of common issues I have to deal with. And
Do you,
confidentiality.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to ask, do you find like there's a, obviously with AI and everything coming out, do you find that a lot of people kind of like they think they're going at it on their own because they're like, oh, I got this figured out. And then, for lack of a better word, ish hits the wall?
Yeah, I have less issues with AI right now.
Humans? Me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. There are a few things that have come up where someone signed an agreement for a music AI platform and they gave their name, image, and likeness in perpetuity
Yeah.
exclusively. And I'm like, look, this can't, you have to get out of this. We have to find a way out of this. There's several different things that have come up with name, image, and likeness issues with AI that I've been concerned about. But
Yeah, I feel like the film industry's been dealing with a heavy amount of that as well. Are you seeing it in music and just film and commercial as well, or?
I'm seeing it everywhere,
Mm,
honestly.
man. Yeah, 'cause as I started getting, as the initial rollout of AI started coming out, we had a lot of films, even if it was just like hey, the agreement was like being able to, if we need to audio in a piece, right?
Mhm.
There's a little clip here that we need to just mimic your voice really quickly with AI, and you agree to that one little thing, but obviously there's no like you can only use it this much. So
Right.
then the film has access to that throughout, which normally you're paying me to come in to a studio
Hmm.
to record where I would be
Right.
getting paid my rate for the day.
Right. And you
Man,
should get residuals on that rate
right.
too.
Mm. Did you did you find anything work? Because obviously, if doing music and stuff, you were throughout the New Orleans kind of local area.
Hmm.
Did you find there's kind of a different approach to some of that you kind of have to look at things in a different way versus say we were in LA or New York?
Yes, because it's really relationship based everywhere, but in New Orleans, it's
Yeah.
especially relationship based. There's a lot of trust with collaboration, but there's not the urge to make a paper trail with dealing with artists in New Orleans as much as dealing with people out of state.
Mm. Do you also feel like coming from music and obviously being in that world yourself, is there a hesitation for artists to think about even reaching out to a lawyer for any of this?
Yes, absolutely.
What is the wall there?
I'm an afterthought. Like,
Mm.
I'm not
When something goes wrong, we call you.
exactly. Instead of realizing that I'm part of the team, I'm one of the first persons they should call when they're starting up any venture that they have or starting to collaborate to make an album, to make a film. I should be one of the first calls that they have instead
Yeah.
of you get to the finish line of your film and you're trying to get it distributed. You have to get errors and omissions insurance. Your distributor's asking for all the rights to the chain of title for stock images, stock footage, or if it is, or the music, and then you're at this point of just utter
You're ready to sell and you
you're
don't
ready
own
to
anything.
sell and it's just like so much tension because you didn't do it ahead of time. You didn't
Yeah.
have the right deal memos in place or just backtracking.
God, I'm having flashbacks. I have been in that indie filmmaker, giddy to get it done and found the
Yeah,
right partners, got everything going, finished up production, got a film that we're proud of, and then you're like, okay, you want to buy it? That's awesome. What do you need?
right.
A what?
Yeah, and you need a letter from a lawyer.
Yeah. Do you have anywhere on your website? So if like an indie filmmaker or artist like wanted to know kind of the best way to start, here's a place you can kind of start off with and get some quick tips or any of that kind of stuff, or they just reach out straight to you?
I think the best way is to reach directly out to me. I do have a blog. I put a few tips on
Yeah.
certain topics, but a better way to get information is reaching out for
I
a
would assume it's kind of
consultation.
details, and obviously
Yeah.
depending on what you're working on, there's going to be
Hmm.
some focuses on the contracts we're kind of triggering, right?
Right.
All right. So I've got a few questions that I call the viral triggers. So I want to
Okay.
see how you give me these answers. Ready?
Yeah.
All right. What legal advice do your musician friends hate hearing the most but always need?
They need to have split agreements when they sit down for a collaboration
Like
instead of,
anytime.
yeah, they need to have it decided when they're in that session instead of waiting until the album comes out.
Mm. So like, me and my buddy decided to sit down one evening because we want to work on a song together. We should throw a simple contract together right then that says we both own whatever we create.
Right. Like you get 50%, he gets 50%, and then that's it.
Yeah. Even if it's basic, even if it's like the AI conversation is something interesting. Do you find that that's a decent way to at least come up with something somewhat binding and correctly worded for you?
Yeah. If you're trying to do something on the fly and you don't want to pay me to make a contract,
Yeah.
but there's also some free contracts out there for split agreements
Okay.
if you need those. But AI, if you're on the fly and you absolutely need something in writing, you can use
You
it.
might have created a new app already, AI on the fly for
Yeah.
musicians. Just quick apps you tap, can automatically commit your social to it. That'd be great. I'll let you steal that one. That one's free.
Thank you.
What intangible perk do artists get when they hire someone that also was a performer and obviously has been there?
I feel like I am a collaborator to them as well. And I fuel the conversation. I help them think outside the box. And I also think about the topics they don't want to focus on, like liability, insurance,
Yeah.
infringement.
Mm. Do you feel like there is a clause that seems really small but always causes problems down the line?
Work for hire and also indemnification clauses are something that
Let's say I have no clue what that means from the musician standpoint.
it's about who takes liability if someone does get in trouble for copyright infringement, for instance, and who has to pay attorney fees or who has to take the blame.
Have you seen any of that with some of the social media going on? Because obviously everyone's sharing everyone's stuff or using it in some way or repurposing it.
I don't see it necessarily with social media issues currently, but when it comes to social media, there's different distributors that will have those clauses in place to see with the platforms to see who owns what and who would take the blame.
Mm,
So it's things I'm not personally seeing, but it's
sure.
probably going on behind the scenes.
And this is not in my trigger question. What would you say, like, because obviously there's going to be a small difference between a musician focusing on some of that versus like a content creator. What's the main things you feel like a content creator should look out for, especially even in some of the simple contracts of someone reaching out and saying, "Hey, we'd love for you to represent our brand and we want to white label it," or any of those things?
I would think about how long you're going to allow your name, image, and likeness to be used by that brand. If they want to renew it, when things should be taken down. Also, if you're having a social media profile that's commercialized, you have to think about music too. You have to have license the music on your social media platform because you can be sued by an artist for making money on your business site and not getting a license first.
Yeah.
Also, brand partnership deals, think about how you're going to be paid, and think about what type of goods you're going to get in exchange too.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people end up agreeing to something simple when it's like, oh, we'll trade you for product, but they don't read the fine print. And usually you are, signing something for life that you just gave them full access to, and they have no clue.
Right. I mean, if you have a lawyer to look over that for you before you enter a contract, that's
In
helpful
perpetuity
too.
word.
Right. You do not want to sign anything in perpetuity.
All right. That's the trigger word.
Yes.
Google in perpetuity. Find it in every contract before you sign.
Right.
Let's see. What do I have? One more for you. That's what's an outdated legal myth that's still hurting creativity today?
Oh, I think the legal system in general is just slow, and creative innovation is just constant, and legal systems can't keep up with the innovation that happens with creative entrepreneurs, with creative professionals. And so, the AI issue is going to be ongoing way past the next wave of things that pop up.
Where do you see, let's say you have your firm in 10 years from now, what kind of ideas do you feel like you're going to be focused mostly on? And where do you see it kind of going? What would be your perfect world in 10 years from now for your firm?
If I were helping out motion pictures, television shows, also helping develop more LLCs for musicians, helping artists realize that they are creative professionals, that they are entrepreneurs, and helping them secure their rights, that would be ideal for me. I would also help people realize the fact that they need some financial planning as a creative professional too, and they have access to that through their businesses. But as far as AI goes, if it was a tool for my business and a tool for other businesses and everyone's intellectual property was protected, that would be ideal.
You opened a cool door there. What is it that most musicians are missing? Because obviously, coming from this creative world, we don't ever look at most creatives don't look at it as a business to begin with. They just think, oh, it's art. I get to be an actor, or I get to, make music. But I think you opened a really cool door there that most people don't think about, that if you are starting an LLC for that music or that art, that you do have access to some possible funding or ways to kind of, even build marketing or whatever it is around there. Can you dive in that for a second?
Yeah, sure. For me, I went to Loyola for the music industry program, and that was one of the cornerstones, being taught to think about your music, your merch as part of a business. And so I formed my own LLC. I had a booking company. I was managing bands, where a lot of us would start our own LLCs. So bands would have LLCs. And something I try to tell clients about is that if you form an LLC, you can get funding from investors. You can get a line of credit. You can also get loans for your business, just investing in your company. Also, you can reach out to get unemployment benefits. You can get disability. You can run your payroll and pay yourself for your art. So you can look out for yourself more.
That's huge. Yeah. I mean, that by itself. Call this lady. All right, let me see. I think I had a couple other that had some little interest here. So SAG and AFTRA, then the actor perspective. What is the most misunderstood part of union contracts for new performers?
I think
I'll keep in mind that SAG is constantly shifting their contracts. So I don't expect you to know contracts back and forth.
I haven't had one come across my desk in a minute.
Okay.
So also it's been kind of slow.
Yeah, our industry's kind of been back and forth with all the other stuff going on. I feel like Louisiana is getting their establishment back in place. You know, we've had some really good articles come out, so I feel like we're about to hit that boom again, and hopefully have some competition for Atlanta. But we'll see how that goes.
I think a common misconception that a lot of union performers have is that by being part of SAG-AFTRA that they're going to get health care right away instead of thinking about how many days they have to be on set for.
And how much money they got to put away before.
Exactly.
Yeah, I believe every 3 quarters, every third quarter, every quarter that you basically have to hit it used to be 21,000. I think it's maybe 27 or something now. I'm a little perturbed at them in the moment for certain reasons as well. We'll leave it there. So let's see. My last one for you, music background. How does understanding performance affect how you approach a contract, pacing, deliverables, and IP?
I think about timing for the contract. I think about when certain, as far as deliverables, so is it a single? Is it an album? Is it an EP? I also think about how many people are going to be part of the collaboration. I think about some of their marketing plans. What's the budget? I have a background in business as well, so I'm just helping consult them through all the steps necessary to achieve a release. And then also, as a performer, when it comes to IP, I try to encourage people to copyright their music before releasing it. A lot of people like to tease it, just making sure everything is protected before it becomes public. Like I had that issue previously.
Of someone picking up some of the stuff you teased? Or a client?
Just having me relaying my business idea to the public, and then just in a different context. Because there are copyright and trademark trolls. So you think your brand is protected, you think your copyright's protected, but someone can go and copyright your work and then claim it as theirs instead of you taking the right steps to make sure you have your own domain name, have your own copyright trademark in place before you get started.
What would you say is the worst case scenario that you've had so far helping someone through some of these specific issues?
Oh, I've had a lot of
names, please.
I've had a lot of nightmares come through.
I bet. Because again, it's most of this I feel like is always going to be the afterthought of how do we fix this now?
Right. I think I can't think of any specific examples, but some clients are just harder to deal with personality wise.
Yeah. I mean, we are dealing with artists, you know.
But like, let's say someone gets in a situation where there's no contracts in place and then they're owed money and then they don't want to pay me. That's not fun. There's also instances of, copyright and trademark infringement that I've had to deal with. I'm not giving great specifics, but it's just a lot of different issues that have come up that are worst case scenario.
Oh man, I hope you don't have nightmares from trying to save people out of their weird contracts.
I have.
You already have them.
But I have taken time to decompress, and I think the longer I've been in practice, I can let it go a little sooner. But
that's a good final question for me then. What do you find that helps you de-stress from such a high-end job?
Watching movies, comedy, swimming, going to see concerts, just trying to stay in tune with myself.
Do you find it puts you back into the artist mind, helps you relax from, more of the analytical side that you have to deal with for this job?
Yes. I need that
Yeah.
because that whole logical side of the brain takes out some of the fun of being a creative. But I'm still a creative at heart, and I need that space to write a song or sing or play piano.
I mean, hey, the highs and the lows is usually what helps make a really good song anyway, right?
Right.
All right, let me see. Well, final one before I let you go. If you had to reapproach starting your craft right now, going back to your acting and doing some of that stuff, what's the initial thing you do now, knowing everything you know from being a lawyer?
To go back to acting, I would start by trying to, I feel like I could negotiate some of my own bookings, also, be my own agent in a way.
Mhm.
Also, I could find the right people to build my team. Also, think about the types of projects I sign on to as well, and think about my name, image, and likeness and what that means. Think about how I'm commercializing my image and carving out certain language so they can't use it in perpetuity or use it outside of what they're saying they're paying me for. If they're doing a television show and they're only giving me so much per episode, but then they want to, have me do a campaign for something else as a way to promote the show, then that's a separate agreement.
Yeah.
Or that's a separate fee. So just thinking about not signing up for contracts that are sneaky.
Maybe putting the eager artist at bay a little while you also figure out checking in with the analytical side.
Exactly. Yeah.
And Julia, what's the best way for people to find you?
The best way to find me, you can access my website. You can email me at julia@juliaholtlaw.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at Julia Holt Law, also Facebook, and I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for jumping in. I am going to finish up with one more quick question that I think you might have a good open eye for people. There is the idea that we, obviously for actors, there's the union, and then there's the fact that you're in a right to work state, specifically Louisiana, Atlanta.
Yep.
What's kind of a recommendation there?
I would say that just because you're in a right to work state doesn't mean, they can take advantage of your labor. You are still entitled to your meal breaks, the right times, being protected for your work. So I would encourage people to, do more union contracts if they can, because there's a reason that's in place. There's been years and years of negotiations that have taken place between production companies and labor unions to make sure people are protected.
Perfect way to end it. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you for having me.
All right, everyone. Thank you guys for hanging out, and you guys know where you can find Julia.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Partnerships for Profit. We hope you've gained valuable insights on how to form profitable partnerships and take your business to the next level. Be sure to subscribe and leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss an episode. Got a partnership story to share or someone you'd like to see featured on the show? Reach out to us. Until next time, keep building those partnerships for profit.